What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are going to take a look once again at the Pestilence Scourge event. This is the 5th time that this event comes around, and for us veteran players we just have to do 1.5 million to get all the milestones, but for new players they have to make decisions on which characters to invest, which characters to use. So I'm going to show you which are the best characters in order for you to clear as many nodes as possible, and also to get the 1.5 million. We're also going to take a look at the Scourges, because a lot of Scourges were changed since the previous Pestilence Scourge event, and you might have to adjust because it's not as easy as it was in the past, and some of the Scourges that were broken, now they are fixed. So as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure you share it to your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure you smash that like button. Okay, let's get started. Let's take a look at the Scourges that we are going to use. Now, these Scourges are based on my personal preference. If you don't like some of these Scourges, if you are having some problems with these Scourges, replace them for something else, but this is the ones I think are more approachable, and they're a little bit better for my playstyle, I guess. Okay, so first off we have Too Clever. When a player character uses the special, they gain ability block. There is a similar Scourge to this that applies blind to you. You want to avoid that one with a blind. This one is better because you can still do the isolate attack and you can still do your basic attack. Then with Dark Rally, whenever a player character uses their ultimate, the enemies gain ability energy. This is convenient because if the enemies are getting energy, you always know that they are going to use the ultimate. So based on that, you can prevent negative situations from the ultimate of the enemies. So this is quite convenient in my opinion. Then we have Poisoned Energy. When you get energy, you get a defense down. Then we have Weakened. Player character's healing is reduced by 20%. Unkillable. When an enemy drops below 50% health, they gain death proof. Some people don't like this Scourge, but I don't think it's a big deal, especially if you use a lot of skirmishers. You are going to remove that buff quite easily. Then we have Gloating. When a player character dies, enemies gain 2 energy. Hopefully your characters will not die. Then we have Devil's Bargain. When a player character gains ability energy, they gain a defense down. Whole Late Power. When an energy gains ability energy, they will generate more ability energy. So you can see this is a lot about ability energies, and once again this is to make sure that we know exactly which abilities the enemies are using. Then we have Quality Minions. Summoned enemies gain 20% max health. ICU. When a player character gains stealth, they also gain taunt. This one was broken in the past and now it's working properly. Now if you are a new player, should you gear up Web Warriors or Dark Hunters to complete these? Probably not. This is the 5th time that we have this event coming around, so if you don't want to gear up those characters, Web Warriors and Dark Hunters, because they are not very useful in many places right now in the game. They are old meta. We are on the 2023 meta, MSF 3.0. Those characters were from MSF 2.0, so in my opinion it's characters that you should keep. And as a new player, you should, as much as possible, do difficulty 8, activate as many Scourges as you can, and then just clear the first 4 nodes, and then that's it, that's your run. You don't need to clear any more than your first 4 nodes, and you'll be able to unlock Morgan Fay and get the character shards for her and the red stars and so on, because once again this is the 5th time this comes around. Now if you want to do the full run, well, I'm going to show you exactly what you have to do in order to win, so let's take a look at that. Okay, so let's take a look at the first node, and for the first few nodes you should try to focus on hero characters that you use in multiple game modes. So I'm going to suggest you to use Wakanda, because in my opinion I think they are the best characters to use on this part. They are global characters, most of them are hero characters, most of them are farmable, and the ones that are not farmable, which is Black Panther Bashenga, then you can replace by any other hero character. You can use Captain Sam, you can use Hulkbuster, you can use Gambit, you can use Castle, anything you want. But Wakanda, they are used once again for Alliance Wars. They are going to be used for Cosmic Crucible, and those are two very important game modes that you definitely want to make sure you are good at them, and that's why you need some big Wakanda. So let's use our Wakanda, and I'm gonna be honest, this was not the best kill order. You should try to focus on Silver Samurai and Phyla-Vell early on, and that's pretty much it. You can still get rid of Lady Deathstrike, she's a problematic character, but Gamora and Wolverine are characters that you can pretty much ignore, so just focus on the left side of the enemy lane rather than focus on the right side where there is Lady Deathstrike and all those characters. Okay, so the Merc LT, you should remove him as fast as possible. He's a very dangerous character, he gives speed up, gives offense up. And Silver Samurai, you should also get rid of him because he does this massive stun. And if he stuns an important character like Black Panther, like he did to me, that's going to be problematic. Other characters that you want to focus as soon as you can is Polaris. You don't want her to apply Disrupt to your team. And then you want to also to focus on Shatterstar. You don't want to have all the X-Factor characters on the field, otherwise they are going to be extremely fast and doing too much damage to you, plus insane survivability for them. Okay, so that's it. We got rid of Silver Samurai, we got rid of the Shatterstar. Now we're going to get rid of Polaris. We are going to wait for her to die with the Blitz, and then we're going to focus on Yo-Yo, because the fact that she's lowering our offense is problematic. You want to, sometimes the best defense is a good offense, because if you can destroy your enemies as soon as possible, then you don't have to worry about the damage that they do to you. Okay, so with that said, we're going to focus now on long shot, and we are going to make sure that our team is full of energy, and for that we are going to use the special of Shuri and also the special of M'Baku, because it also gives defense up and it also gives energy to your team. And that's it. So that was the first node. Now we're going to take a look at the second node, and we are going to use exactly the same team. Okay, here we go. We have node number 2, and we only need heroes. Once again, if you don't have the full Wakanda team, you can replace the character that is missing with a powerful character, like even Spider Weaver, since everyone got her for free. Okay, so if you have Bashenga, you can attack Ebony Maw and remove his positive effects. Then you want to apply defense down to a few characters and give some damage to them, so after you can use your Black Panther to destroy them. That's it. You can see right here we have 5 charges. Now I have offense up. I'm going to ultimate and get rid of Proxima Midnight. And for some reason Black Panther bugged out. I'm not sure exactly why. I should have another attack with him, but that's fine. Just play normal, and then try to get rid of Colin Wing and also Mary Hill. Captain Sam, you don't have to worry about him using his ultimate, because with all the counters that you have on your Wakanda team, he's just gonna get destroyed. So you can see just with the counters he got destroyed. The reason why you have to go after Colin Wing is because she applies heal block to you, and you want to avoid as much as possible to have any kind of heal block. Then Sharon Carter, she does a lot of damage, so you have to be careful with her as well. Here I got lucky, and she attacked M'Baku. And now with Bashenga, I'm going to apply defense down to a bunch of characters. Then the Black Widow, she's going to give speed up for everyone, so I'm going to try to destroy her as fast as possible. Heal up with Shuri, here we go. Black Widow is gone, and now we want to stun or blind or anything to Moon Knight, or of course kill him, so he doesn't apply negative effects to you. For some reason I went after White Tiger, which is not a problematic character. She does a big burst damage early on, but it's not a big deal. If you let the enemy Moon Knight to attack you, it can be a lot worse, but I was able to defeat White Tiger and Moon Knight, and that's it. So as you guys can see, Wakanda is great for nodes number 1 and number 2. You can also use them on nodes number 3 and number 4, but we are going to use a team that is more convenient than the Wakanda. So let's take a look at which team we are going to use. Okay, here we go for node number 3, and on node number 3 we are going to use the Death Seed. And the reason why Death Seed is more important than Wakanda is because you can use Death Seed in raids. You can use that seed in Cosmic Crucible, you can use that seed in Alliance Wars, and you also can use that seed to obtain Apocalypse and get a bunch of rewards by doing so. So it's a very important team that at some point in time, as a new player or as a veteran player, it's something you should look out for. Okay, so with that seed we are going to use the Magneto ultimate and we are going to blind all those characters. You probably don't have to focus on Shang-Chi like I did. You can focus instead maybe on X23, so you can blind all characters. If you blind way too much at the left or at the right, the enemies at the corners will not be blinded, so you want to attack somewhere in the middle. It doesn't have to be exactly in the middle, but within the 3 lanes in the middle, not the lane number 1 and number 5. Okay, so you can see that we already did massive amount of damage, and the goal now is just to give a lot of damage to the enemies, but to try to kill them with Archangel. And the reason why you want to kill them with Archangel is because it's going to give energy to the entire team, and this will allow you to use the ultimate of Magneto once again on the next turn, on the next node, which is great. If you start with a blind, it's quite amazing because it makes things so much easier. And this is another reason why you should use the Dead Seed. It's because they are such a powerful team with so much control. So you can see right here that I'm trying just to lower the enemies as much as possible so I can finish them off with Archangel. Okay, there we go. So that was node number 3. This is the global nodes. Now let's take a look at node number 4. And on node number 6 and number 7, we are going to use this team once again because we can double up the value. Not only they are global, but they are also villains, so you can use them in both scenarios. Okay, so here we go for node number 4, Dead Seed once again. And we are going to play in the same way. We are going to try to get the characters as low as possible, so after we can finish them off with Archangel. Unfortunately, I was 1 energy away from having the ultimate with Magneto, but you'll see that it wasn't even important. And one of the reasons why, it's because whenever you get rid of an enemy, you are going to turn rewind the enemies. And if you can kill 1 enemy early on, that will give you a huge speed advantage. And you'll see that 1 Karnak had a turn, but after that not a lot of enemies are going to have turns. Dead Seed, they just destroy the enemies and they keep turning rewinding them, and you don't give them a chance of success. So let's take a look at Magneto with the blind. I did the blind here, even that we are already on the last wave, because I expect to be able to get a lot of energy back. So I'm trying to focus on the best characters to get as many kills as possible. So once again, we have Archangel giving a bunch of energy for everyone. Sometimes he gives more energy than the animation shows up. So the animation only gave 3 energy, but we got a lot more than that, so don't worry about it. Okay, so there we go, Dead Seed on node number 5, as you guys can see, super easy. Okay, so now you're going to take a look at node number 5, and a good recommendation for node number 5 is to change the ISO weight of Ghost Spider, Scarlet Spider and Spider Punk to healer. That will allow you to have your team maxed out at the end of the node. This node, it has a lot of damage and situations like that, so it's going to be convenient to have some additional healing. Other thing that you can do, and this is definitely going to help you out, is to change that first Scourge that I mentioned. If your miles is not as big as mine, you can see the size right here. If your miles is not as big as mine, turn off that Scourge, the one that gives down to characters in stealth, and turn on some other Scourge that you find more convenient, because as you can see, Miles is in a very dangerous situation because of all those towns. Okay, so we are just going to attack, and if you want to get as much healing as possible, you want to attack as many characters as possible, and also apply negative effects to them. And you can see right here, the more negative effects you apply, the more healing Scarlet Spider passive is going to do. Okay, so now with Miles we are going to remove that taunt, and without taunt off we can finally attack the other characters. I try to ability block Strife because his ultimate is very dangerous, but because he has slow it's not a big deal. In this specific situation it failed, but that's fine. Now the ultimate of Scarlet Spider, I usually use it on Star-Lord T'Challa, but you can use on any character you prefer, as long as they have a defense down. Just make sure you attack characters that have defense down. Okay, so at this point we are going to get rid of everyone, and we are going to use the ultimate of Miles. A lot of characters with the defense down, so we are going to get additional damage from the ultimate of Miles. And you want to make sure that whenever the second wave drops, that dagger is not alive, because if you have dagger and cloak at the same time, they are going to do massive piercing damage to your team, and while you can dodge it, it's something that you should avoid. Okay, so now we have the ultimate of Ghost. I'm going to use it, but it's not really necessary. It depends on how weak your team is. If your team is stronger in terms of health than mine was, that's fine, you can just ignore it. And then you want to get rid of Cloak as fast as you can to avoid the situation of having the negative effects. As you can see, I was not very lucky here. But now that Cloak did his ultimate, then you can just ignore him, because after he does his ultimate, it's not very relevant. You want to use as much single target damage as possible, so you can heal up your team. And as you can see, because of the ISO changing, my team is full health. Okay, so let's take a look at node number 6, and in this node we are going to use villains. So once again we are going to use the Death Seed, and now you can use any villain you want. You can use Hela, you can use Zemo, you can use Dormammu if you have him, you can use Morgan Le Fay if you already unlocked her, you can use Omega Red, Lady Deathstrike. You have so many good options, it doesn't really matter which one you use. Just use one that has some kind of survivability, some kind of healing, or that is not important like to have for the other nodes. So you could use Abomination, he has healing on turn, he does big damage, he has a stun, so that would be a convenient character as well. You could also use Silver Samurai, you could also use Emma Frost, you could definitely use Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is a very fun character to use together with the Death Seed. In this specific situation I'm going to use Kingpin, not for any particular reason, but Kingpin is a great recommendation for Dark Dimension 5 for new players. So if for some reason you use him for Dark Dimension 5, you could also use him here, as he is a villain, and he gives additional benefits not only for the Death Seed but for villains overall. He's going to give positive effects, he's going to give additional chance of assist, and on top of that he also spawns with minions that have taunt, and that's very convenient because it will protect your characters. Okay, so we are going to blind everyone with Magneto since we have the ultimate available, and once again we are going to try to lower the enemies as much as possible, so after Archangel can finish them off and give energy to the entire team. So I'm gonna focus on Rocket because I don't want him to give taunt to Groot. The taunt is very annoying, so we are going to avoid that situation. Then you can ability block Mr. Sinister, but you should also ability block Strife, so he doesn't taunt you and he's in your face. So one way or another, you can see now he has the taunt, and you can avoid that by just ability blocking him. Now he does the ultimate, but he's blinded. This is another thing, like if you try to rush the enemies and force them to use their ultimates while they are blinded, that's the best thing, because that means you have nothing to worry about. Okay, so now Mr. Sinister, we are going to slap him just with adjacent damage, and then we have nothing to worry about. So triple kill there to make sure that Archangel gives as much energy as possible, and we are done with this node number 6. As you can see, I'm holding back a little bit on the cooldowns so we can get some more energy. So I used the ultimate once again to give more energy for my Dead Sea team. Okay, so let's take a look at node number 7, and we are going to use exactly the same team. In case your non-Dead Seed character died, just replace him with someone else and you'll be fine. Like, villains is a very broad tag, and you can use pretty much anyone here, as long as your main core is Death Seed. So Morgan Le Fay, Abomination, Red Hulk, not Red Hulk, Omega Red, Agatha Harkness, Doctor Doom, Ultron. You could even use Ultron. Now Ultron is part of the meta once again, so it would be an interesting place to use him. Okay, so if you are using Ultron, if you are using any character with minions, you want to focus as fast as possible on Deathpool, because Deathpool, she does a lot of damage to summoned characters and minions, so be careful with that. After that, characters you have to prioritize its Psylocke, because she's going to throw all the negative effects at you. And then the character you want to prioritize is Silver Surfer. In this specific situation, Moon Knight, it doesn't matter because he's going to be blinded, so you don't have to worry about him. And as soon as the second wave drops, you want to apply slow to them, and make sure you focus on Loki, so he doesn't mind controls any of your characters, and then you just slap, and that's it. So with that Seed and any other villain character, this is like super easy, and this is why this is such a good recommendation. Okay, let's take a look at node number 8, and for node number 8 and nodes number 9 you need cosmic characters. And you on the first node, if you have Infinity Watch, you want to use it. You just put auto and you pretty much win with Infinity Watch. But if it's not the case, then you want to bring Eternals, Deadpool and Kestrel. These are very good characters that you can take for Dark Dimension 5. And Kestrel and Deadpool, they're also required to unlock Apocalypse. So you want to focus on those characters. On top of that, you also want to put Thanos in the corner next to Icarus. So Thanos can give energy to Icarus, so you have his ultimate available whenever you go to node number 9. So let's get started, let's take a look at this. And this fight is very easy. Once again, with Infinity Watch, it's the best way to do it, because that will allow you to have full cooldowns on the node number 9. But this technique with Thanos is good as well, and you don't even need a big Thanos. Like if Thanos is like level 75 or something like that, it's just fine. You don't need him to do anything beyond staying alive. Okay, so as you guys can see, we are just destroying these enemies. We are going to attack the enemies with defense down, just to make sure that we get as much energy as possible. And now we have Drax, and we have Hela, and we have Lady Deathstrike. So Lady Deathstrike and Hela, they are two very problematic characters, so you want to remove them as fast as possible. So try to rush to remove the taunt of Drax, and then trying to finish off both Lady Deathstrike and Hela. I would say that Hela is a little bit more problematic early on in the match, and Lady Deathstrike can also be problematic. It's like both characters are problematic. It's not like you have a chance, to be honest. Just be careful, because you can see that both of them do a lot of damage, really a lot of damage, and you don't want that. Okay, so as you guys can see, I didn't play it very well. I was just trying to rush it. This was during the live stream, and just rushing through it. But if you play a little bit more carefully, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. The characters you want to keep alive is Cersei, Kestrel, and Icarus. With those three characters, you can pretty much easy mode clear node number 9 as well. Okay, so let's take a look at that. We are not going to make a break this time. Let's see. It should be easy. We're going to replace Thanos and Deadpool with any other characters we have available. You can use Strange Supreme, is also required for the Apocalypse Saga. And then use any other kind of cosmic character that you have available. I don't remember if there is any other character that is required for Apocalypse. But you could use Black Bolt, you could use Phyla-Vell, you could use Gamora, you could use Adam Warlock if you have him available. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the core of the team, which is the Eternals and Kestrel. Okay, so Killmonger starts off with some big damage, so be careful with that. Maybe you want to prioritize characters that have defense up on spawn. And then, as you can see, like Icarus completely destroys everything. Then with Kestrel, you want to use her special to apply as many defense downs as possible, and then you want to stun the enemy Kestrel, or turn Rewinder with Strange Supreme. That's another option. In case you don't need to turn rewind with Strange Supreme, you can turn rewind instead Captain Sam, and you're gonna be fine. And that's pretty much it. So as you guys can see, Eternals just clear this off extremely easy. Okay, now we're going to take a look at node number 10, and for node number 10, it's convenient that you have both teams, Dark Hunters and Web Warriors, but it doesn't really matter. Like, if you reach all the way to node number 9, that's fine. You don't have to worry too much about node number 10. It's just some additional points. It doesn't really matter. Most people, when they did their first run on the Pestilence Scourge, they didn't even complete the entire run, and that's fine. That's really fine. As long as you can get enough points to unlock Morgan Le Fay, that's more than enough. Okay, so we are going to use Dark Hunters for the first attack. We're gonna sack with Dark Hunters, and then we are going to finish it off with Web Warriors. You can one-shot node number 10 with Dark Hunters, but it really depends on which Scourges you have active, and if you are lucky. Now, it's going to be very convenient for you to have a few characters as Skirmisher, Morbius Skirmisher, the Dr. Voodoo Skirmisher as well, and Mordo Skirmisher. It's going to be important to clear positive effects from the enemies, and then you want to have Elsa Bloodstone and as a Raider, and Ghost Rider as a Striker. This is to maximize the damage, but at the same time to have enough buff clearing from the enemy. So let's take a look at this match. You are going to focus early on Ebony Maw. We are going to try to remove as many positive effects from him as possible, and then we are going to do as much damage as we can to get rid of the important enemies. And the important enemies, they are going to be Magic, Cyclops, Storm. Those are the characters that you need to get rid of as fast as possible. Colossus is going to be on your way a few times, so this is why you need multiple skirmishers, so you can remove his taunt as fast as you can. Okay, so big bleeds on all those characters. Then Ebony Maw now has the skirmisher and the vulnerability. We removed all those positive effects, and now with Elsa Bloodstone we are going to get rid of him. With Mord we are going to use the ultimate just to apply some additional negative effects to the enemies, because every time you apply negative effects to the enemies, you're also going to get a turn meter. Okay, so if you are lucky, you might be able to finish off Cyclops early on, and that's great. But if you are not lucky, that's fine. You're gonna get stuck behind that Colossus. But once again, remember that your goal is to reach the Magic and the Storm. Storm, she gives speed up, she gives assist. Those are things that you want to avoid as much as possible. And then if you get rid of Magic, then the fight is a lot easier, because the enemies will not have barrier, they will not have any kind of those crazy things. Okay, so as you can see, like, I was not very lucky on this run. That's why we are going to double tap it. In the past I have one-shotted these, but this time I was just not lucky enough, and I'm going to attack this node with many enemies alive. Fortunately enough, I got rid of Cyclops and of Storm, and if those two characters are gone, that's going to be great. Okay, so now I'm going to try to do some additional damage to the enemies, and then I'm going to clear the rest with just the Web Warriors. Okay, so Thanos is very low. Magic, she's still alive, which is inconvenient, but we are going to try to focus on her on the next attack early on, so we can get rid of her. Okay, now we're going to do the second attack on node number 10, and we are going to use the Web Warrior, same as the way that we had before. We want that additional survivability, because we have Magic giving barrier and drain to the enemies, and we also have Psylocke giving deflects, not deflects, giving evades and counters to the enemies as well. So you want to turn rewind Magic, you don't want her to have any turns. If she has turns, she's going to give more barrier to the enemies, which you don't want, and you just want to give some big burst damage to her. With Psylocke, you kind of want to stun her, because while she's stunned, she's not able to evade, and you can finish her off like that. Then you are going to try to finish off also Magic. Once again, Magic is giving the barrier, Magic is giving the drain. So if she is dead, she is still going to give the drain, but she'll not give the barrier, so that's convenient enough. Okay, so now Phoenix dies, and we are just gonna finish it off. We have Corvus Glaive and Phoenix. Those are two easy characters against our web warriors with Illarize Await. You can see that makes a huge difference. We are healing so much that the enemies cannot keep up, and that's it. That's the Pestilence Scourge event with these new Scourges, with the new teams, and this is the new method that you want to use in order to get 1.5 million. Once again, if there is any Scourge that you find inconvenient, like that Scourge that applies stun to Miles, you can replace it with any other Scourge. There are some other Scourges there that make this run a little bit slower, but it might be more convenient for less experienced players. Okay, so there we go, 1.5 million. That's what you need to get all the rewards as a veteran player, and that's all you need to know also as a new player in order for you to unlock Morgan Le Fay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.